There's no need to fear. The underdog is here. As Americans, we are virtually obsessed with the idea of the underdog. Whether it's rooting for the 16th seed to be the first to defeat the number 1 overall seed in NCAA basketball brackets, a clumsy cartoon character appropriately called the underdog, or movies like Rocky or Rudy, it is easy to see that Americans love a good underdog story. In fact, according to researchers from Abilene Christian University, favoring the big dog is often the most logical choice, but favoring the underdog is the most compelling one. For example, at my high school, I've had some recent success with mating with members of the opposite sex. Now, this was only made possible because I'm considered an intriguing underdog. Woof woof. But even though it is true that underdogs can be found anywhere on Earth, most people still do not realize how they have affected our society today. To further understand this concept, we must first explore the history of the underdog. Second, we shall examine the reason behind this love obsession. And finally, we shall analyze how underdogs have positively impacted our society today and how they'll continue to do so in the future. So let's start off by flying on over to our first main point and take a real bite out of the crime that started the term underdog. According to a recent PBS article, the term underdog was first coined when the sport known as bear baiting was created. The sport of bear baiting is a repugnant form of blood sport in which a bear is chained to a post inside a ring, still able to move but not escape, and then 2 dogs are sent to attack the animal. Now, unfortunately for the dog attacking the lower reach of the bear, most of the bears used in this activity were male, resulting in that dog's immediate death. Thus, the term literally meaning underdog was born. Today, the term underdog has transpired into an idea that Americans have come to know and love, including myself. I have a confession to make. You see, I have a massive problem. I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan. I know, they're awful. But every year I root for them in the long shot hope that they might make it to the playoffs and actually win a game, if not the Lombardi Trophy. Why, like so many other souls, do I choose to suffer? Well, it turns out that I'm not crazy. Whether it be the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Chicago Cubs, or even the 0-28 2012 Grambling State Tigers in college football, we all have awful teams that we just can't help rooting for. Well, according to studies conducted by South Florida University, we are actually genetically inclined to root for the underdog. The results of the study demonstrated that we want to root for the underdog specifically for the idea that if the underdog can do it, so can I. We want the impossible to happen, not just for the sake of the underdog, but for what it might mean for us in the future. A great example of an inspirational underdog is the true story of Jason McKellen, a teenager born with autism who has always had a love for basketball. At his Rochester High School, he was responsible for helping out the varsity team by being a team manager, taking care of equipment, getting fresh towels, and doing other odd jobs to ensure the varsity players had whatever they needed for their practices and games. During the last game of the season in his senior year, cheers began to come from the crowd. Mac! 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 The coach really had no other choice but to put him in. Of course, no one expected much from him, but McKellen proved that he knew his stuff. During 3 minutes on the court, the game's surprise hero sank 6 3-pointers and an additional shot to score 20 total points. Now, even though McKellen's amazing play wasn't enough to win the game, that didn't matter. For McKellen, the game was about much more than just sports. It helped improve what he was capable of to the world. So even though real underdogs don't have lightning speed or amazing strength of the underdog in the old cartoon, it is still clear that underdogs have positively impacted our society today, and they will continue to do so in the future by inspiring us all. Such as my own father. In early 2012, my dad was diagnosed with staph infection in his spine. We were told by doctors that even after surgery, he may never be able to walk again. But even though he was the underdog for this infection, he wasn't going to back down. He inspired me through his relentless work and dedication towards rehabilitation. And today, despite the odds against him, he's healthy and using both of his his legs. So whether it's a clumsy cartoon character, Jason McKellen, or even my own dad, I always root for the underdog, and I hope you do too. They continue to inspire me to believe that I too can achieve great success, because there's no need to fear, the underdog is here.